So I finally went out to the range. This is the Thompson Center compass, and it's a 6.5 Creedmoor using Hornady Black. I believe they're 140 grain boat-tail hollow point. And this is basically out of the box, but of course, you know, when I say out of the box, I usually take everything apart, give it a good cleaning. Then when I reassemble everything, and especially with the scope mounts, you know, I clean it all off, and I Loctite them in, blue Loctite, just to make sure that it's good and sturdy. We went out to the Best of the West range, and so I'm sighting it in, bore sighting at first at 100 yards, and so the first few shots are just going to be, you know, just dialing it in and centering the scope reasonably well. I'm not too worried about it because, you know, these are the first shots out of this rifle, so I'm not expecting too much out of it. Not until I, you know, test some different ammo or get used to the gun. But I want to modify this anyway. So we went through, sighted it in, and then shot a few groups. And you know, the rifle really felt pretty good. It was, you know, it's a synthetic stock, which really wasn't that bad. You know, I'm usually not a big fan of some of the stocks that came out with these inexpensive rifles, but this one, you know, really wasn't too bad. You know, I like the features. A few features on this rifle that really sold me on it. It just really wanted me to give it a shot. You know, the 5R rifling, the adjustable trigger. Now I liked the 60-degree bolt angle. So whenever I, you know, lower scope, you know, and you don't have to worry about, you know, interference with your scope when you're cycling the bolt. Now I like that 60-degree feature, but I have to say that bolt handle is so small. I mean, it's you know, maybe you just have to get used to it, but you know, maybe I'll look around or just fabricate one myself, more to my liking, a little longer, a little meatier, have a better feel with it. But overall, it's a really nice rifle, and I like the fact that it was, you know, threaded barrel also. So all I did was just put the bipod on it. Well, I cleaned it up, put the bipod on, and put the scope on, and started shooting. So the first 3 shots, like I said, were just for, you know, centering the scope. And then I shot 3 groups, and they didn't do too bad at all. One of them was kind of strange. It's like it just started going left, and I'll show you the target and explain it later. But it was kind of a strange grouping. It wasn't consistent with the rest of it, but I went through 1, 2, 3 groups. Now after the very first shot, I immediately cleaned the barrel again. I'm just trying to do some kind of break-in. I'm not a big fanatic about, you know, being real meticulous about it, but at least that first shot, I wanted to clean it out.
Just left and down a second.
And then once I centered the rifle, after the first 3 shots, then I cleaned it again, and then shot 3 groups with it, you know, without cleaning it up, without cleaning the barrel again. But after that, after the first 3 groups, I cleaned the barrel, and then I added the muzzle brake to see if, you know, so I could see the difference, you know, in recoil or difference in the point of aim and accuracy. And it didn't do too bad. I mean, I guess the recoil Of course, this is a really cheap muzzle brake. It was just something I got off of eBay, you know, real dirt cheap, just to have something to throw on there. You know, I'll look up and see if there's any other one that I'd like to try out with this rifle. Something that, you know, that somebody's done some testing with. You know, I'm sure this thing was just fabricated and holes drilled in it, and boom, there you go. There's your muzzle brake. You know, I'm sure there's no testing involved with it, but I noticed, you know, a slight difference in recoil, maybe 20-30% max. You know, it was a little difference. You know, nothing really huge and significant, but of course the recoil wasn't that bad at all. And as far as, you know, any increased noise or anything like that, I couldn't tell, because basically, you know, I had my ear protection on, my headphones on the whole time, so I couldn't really, you know, tell any difference in noise. But it was you know, not bad, but a slightly busy day at the range, so, you know, that's why I'm narrating now. So it was really kind of hard to see any difference, to hear the difference anyway. But recoil wise, maybe 30%. So it really wasn't too bad, you know. And I went with my brother, and he shot a few times too, and he had a couple of pretty good groups with it. So I did manage to save the target. We had to wait around a little while before we could go and retrieve the target, but I did manage to save it. And here are the results. So like I said, I was using, this is Hornady Black 140 grain boat tail hollow points. And got these at Academy. They're actually not bad price, you know, $20 a box or so. It's the first time I've seen them, but they actually did pretty well. Now here's the results, and this target, I'll show you, try to make some sense out of this. The first 3 shots, 1, 2, and 3, that was just I bore sighted and then try to dial it in a little closer to the bullseye, but I wasn't too worried about that. I was really looking for the groupings. But so this one, and this one, and these were the very first shots. So this first shot, you know, I took the shot, then went and cleaned the barrel again, and then went ahead and shot these 2. And I can't remember if I cleaned again before I shot the first group, but whichever. So this was the first group here, boom boom, and then a stray one over here, but still, you know, it was a .98, and that wasn't too bad. Nope. And then I reached over, I tried to dial it in to get more in the bullseye, and the first one, you know, right on the money, but then the next 2 is kind of odd, just boom boom, just slowly went left. So it was averaging, you know, 1.7, and I don't know what happened to that, but the next one around here, you can see a .853, and this is, you know, .85 or so. Not too bad. We had 2 of them really close here. After these groups, I think after this one, I did clean the barrel again, and then switched over and put the muzzle brake on the rifle, and shot this group. So it was a .94. It was still, you know, right around 1 MOA, just under it. And you can see it was shooting much lower with the muzzle brake than without it. So the next group, I dialed it in, still with the muzzle brake, went, you know, up an inch, And these first two, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have a pretty decent group here. Got all excited, and then I yanked one, and I'm sure that was me. Because whenever I yank, I tend to yank it to the right. And other guys, like my brother here, he yanks them to the left. But 1.19 with the stray there, you know. Then we were running out of ammo here, and I just shot another one. The last one, boom. So if you ask me, I'd say it was keeping within, even though I did have a couple of them that were over 1 MOA, it's still, I would say it's keeping within their guarantee of 1 MOA or better, you know, using premium ammo. And this was, you know, I wasn't expecting this. I mean, these are the first shots out of the rifle, and I was not expecting to keep the groupings like that. You know, if they all ended up like this, I would have been happy. I wasn't expecting much at all until I, break in the barrel and test some different ammo. But this turned out to be pretty good. The Hornady Black. So I think for the next steps, I'm going to break that down, replace the stock. Even though the stock, it wasn't that bad, It is free floated. I had it on a bipod, and it still, held its stiffness there. It really wasn't too bad. If I was just going to take this hunting with me, and trudge around and bang it around, I'd probably leave it like it is. But, I got this for a project. So the next step, I'm going to take that off, fit it to this, the Boyd's Pro Varmint stock. I've already got the pillars made and installed. I'm going to set it in, bed the rifle, bed the stock. And the scope here, you can see it's sitting pretty high, but I have another scope that I'm going to put on it. I have another Redfield that is the Redfield Battle Zone. It's a 6-18 by 44. I think I'm going to swap it over, put that on there with the correct rings, and once it's all finished, take it back to the range. I'll try to use the exact same ammo and compare the difference.